Okay, just doing a quick update on the qigong training in the context of the um, Chan Buddhism, and I finished the Realizing Enlightenment book by Master Nan Huai-jin. I read the book several times. Initially, about 20 years ago, more like 20, 24 years ago, 23 years ago, 23 years ago. So it was a lot easier for me to read this time because I've had time, to do a lot of other research. And basically he says that, well, the level of morality is very low in modern times. We have low morality, and that the main root cause of ignorance is from lust. And so if you can't transform the lust, then you'll remain in ignorance. And then he says that based on modern science, it's considered that there's a cycle to the gametes, the reproductive cells in the body, and that they're supposed to just be discharged when the cycle is done. And he says that that's not, he says he understands that that's what Western science says, but he doesn't feel the need to try to defend what the meditation path is, what that creates in terms of the energy. And then he says that to open up, he talks about the small universe meditation at the end of the book, and he says that his book on Tao and longevity was just about opening up the spinal channel, which is the governor. It's also called the governor channel. So that's based on restoring the yang qi or yang qi in the body and going up, sublimating it up to the third eye. And he said he only talked about that in the Tao and Longevity book because that's much easier to achieve than actually opening up the front channel, which is what's the name of that in English? The functioning channel. So he said that bringing the energy back down the front to fully open that is much more difficult. And so that's what that is restoring the yin qi back into the what's called the essence or the life force energy for the yang shen, where you start to develop the golden immortal body. So you have the Wan Qi activated when the Yang Qi is restored. And so that's the first half of it of enlightenment. So you have the Wan Qi with the Wan Shen, which is the third eye opening up, and then you have to maintain the purification to then keep opening up the third eye further and developing the Yang Qi even more, and then adding more Yin Qi to it to then open up the front channel going down. And he says the organs, the front channel going down, is all about the organs of the body. So he says that the purification for that is you have to do the fasting. So he did 7 days of nonstop full lotus meditation. And he said at first, it's super painful, the full lotus. But he said that after the 5th or 6th day of pain of nonstop full lotus, Padma Sama, then he heard this really loud snap in his lower body. And after that, the energy cleared out, and he felt like really deep bliss, and he didn't need to eat or sleep after that. So he went the 7 days of nonstop full lotus, and he said that what happens is the organs actually rearrange their position in the body as that front channel opens up. And this, in terms of alchemy, this makes sense in that the heart as spirit has to go below the water as stomach, and which is the life force. So the spirit is you have to, in terms of the organs rearranging them, it's more of a energetic rearranging, I think, than a physical rearranging. But he says the stomach shrivels up like a gunny sack, and that is very painful. And then he says that the qigong master Chen Yilin, he mentions how the pancreas changes position, and he realized, I totally forgot him mentioning this because he talked about it in the year 2000. He said he learned that the proper position of the pancreas is actually facing a different direction than it normally is for people in the body. And he calls that the Bermuda Triangle of the body. That's what he calls it, like the pancreas and the stomach and the spleen. Because the spleen is considered thinking. So if you worry too much, that's like a spleen blockage. And so you're overusing your yin qi energy if you think too much, which is the problem I've had or that's been one of my issues. But so the other thing is that Master Nan Huai-jin, he really emphasizes that you do have to have concentration on one point to achieve samadhi. And it's like a visualization or something to concentrate your mind. So it could be your breathing, or it could be one of numerous methods. It could be listening to the source of thinking. But he said that, or it could be like the small universe meditation where you're synchronizing your breathing and your visualization. But he said that no matter what it is, that you have to not be attached to it, that you have to realize that even the consciousness has to be emptied out. And so that as soon as you're aware that you're having this image or whatever your perception is, or hearing something or whatever it is, you have to then immediately empty it out to this pure formless awareness, or emptiness that cannot be perceived, so you can logically infer it. And so there's this constant process of refining the energy as that process of it's an eternal process. And so even though the focus in Buddhism is on developing wisdom, so they say, you're not supposed to just stop all your thinking. You're supposed to develop wisdom as visionary knowledge, or transcendental wisdom, but at the same time you're not supposed to be attached to it. So as soon as you know you have this knowledge, you're supposed to immediately empty it out and realize that the knowledge comes from the emptiness, that that's not you. So you have to, so there's this that's the sort of the paradox of Buddhism, and that provides numerous debates or whatever discussions in meditation. And then what else? The qigong master Yan Xin, he also trained in the Chan Buddhism through Shaolin, through Haidan, and he just says there's also, the Taoism is part of Chan Buddhism. So he says, like in Taoism, the focus is on virtue, whereas in Buddhism it's focused on beneficence. I've never said that word before. Beneficence. There we go. So for example, he says you could develop these abilities, but as long as you're attached to it, it's really easy for there to be a lot of arrogance, spiritual arrogance, or what I've called the spiritual ego. He talks about that too, but he's like, on the one hand, you need this really strong spiritual ego to purify the energy and develop the energy, but on the other hand, you have to have humility, the utmost humility at the same time. And then he's like, one thing that qigong master Yan Xin points out, he says when qigong masters have pyrokinesis, when they can burn things with their eyes, that's the golden light. So that means they've opened up their front channel already, and they've stored up enough of this golden light. And I've experienced that the laser energy, from qigong master Chen Yilin and qigong master Jim Nance also. So that laser burning from the golden light that's the real deal. And of course, it can be overused. So Trudeau Master Yan Xin, he says, well, when you first start opening up your third eye, then you connect with the greater universe, which is the non-dualism. What he calls it, a biological hologram. So you begin to experience how the external world is reflected internally inside you. And I have experienced that. But Yan Xin then says you have to be very careful not to overuse your energy, because at that point you can transfer the internal substance, which is this golden elixir. He calls it the Yao, which is the alchemy name for elixir. It's another name for Dan. Like Dan means pill, but also means elixir. And then Dan Tian means elixir field. But Yao also means like elixir, like as in medicine. So when you have this internal substance that's the refined, but then it can be externalized through this light, with the energy, it's like a strong magnetic field that's non-local and has information and whatever. And of course, that's where the non-commutative secret comes in. That is what explains the non-Western non-dualism. But even though I figured out that secret, it's the only reason it's a secret is because people, they don't know about it, and I could try to convince people of it, but it takes too much work to try to convince people conceptually for them to learn about it. Whereas if you practice meditation, then you're actually changing people's experience through the energy. Because if you just focus on the conceptual realm, you don't deal with people's subconscious blockages. So Master Nan Huai-jin, he inspired me to focus on the conceptual level, because he's like, I can't remember where he said this, but it's like, well, we need to figure out that level of reality as well, and so, but anyway, it's all connected to the levels of the body. The first 5 levels of consciousness are the levels of the body, and then the 7th level is the spiritual ego, which is based on like the intention, or the synthesizing. The 8th level is the level of consciousness of the universe, that connects back to the levels of the body. And so anyway, I will leave it at that. And I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a lot. It seems a lot clearer to me now, the information. But of course, I haven't lived up to the standards, the level of practice. The same Yan Xin says the same thing. It's like most people, they don't take it seriously, so they'll practice qigong, but they just do it for fun, as exercise, for health. And so that's the level I've been at now, pretty much. just fine with me. I think. I mean, I'd still do psychic healing on some level too. But anyway, thanks for your time.